Hey everybody, Strainers103 here, been slacking again, but welcome back to another replay analysis. Today we're looking at mich playing a Salem. Salem's not a ship I have, and it's not really a ship I want. I'm not really a fan of the Des Moines, but the Salem looks like a decent ship to play out in the open. You know, with the super heal you can manage your HP losses quite a bit better. But anyways, the purpose of this is to have a look at this specific replay. And we're going to start that by reading the subject of the email when this was sent to me, and it opens with "What the fuck that throw." So I guess we got something to look forwards to, and I guess we can try to guess where the throw really occurs. I guess it might be a pretty obvious one, but we'll see. But anyways, hold on a moment. Why is there an A gun there? I guess Wargaming decided, yeah, we're just going to copy-paste the Des Moines, repaint it, and we're not even going to remove that AA gun, which I believe they historically eventually ended up removing because it kept getting off the Des Moines because they, the splash from the bow would just make it a pain to maintain, so the wash from the bow. Anyways, having a look at the matchmaking, we've got a fishing division on the enemy team, Midway, Des Moines, Zhao. We've got a Desdiv, Aki, Asashi on the enemy team, so only 3 battleships, so they're not going to have a good time of it. We have a Desdiv with a Terrible and a Z, so they're probably not going to have a good time overall in this match with the carrier. Not the best ships overall. We get a gearing. We also have a Worcester South division, so we have some, and a Montana, so we have some reasonable anti-aircraft availability on our side. The enemy team has a Tirpitz, which is vulnerable to AP bombs. Cleaver. Yeah, they get a Cleaver, we get a Balti. So AA-wise, I wouldn't say any team has a significant advantage. Of course, they have a fishing division, so the enemy carrier has basically a side of the map that they're on that he doesn't really need to worry about defending too much. Now we're heading with our Salem straight towards the B-cap area, which is I guess you can say it's a reasonably standard position. I wouldn't go this far ahead, knowing that there's only one Kerfuffle that's currently not even heading straight towards the enemy, and a gearing down there. I probably would have parked over there. Better position to turn around and go somewhere else. But we find an enemy Stalingrad. Ooh, he's even turning out. Personally, I would have immediately... I mean, I actually run the expert loader on it, so I would have gotten the AP shots off. I think that's slightly aimed too high. And I would load back onto HE after this. He's definitely going to turn out. Looks like the friendly Gossa Kerfuffle sends the salvo in and achieves a grand total of Jack. We can even see we're getting deflections off... shatters off his belt. Which is awkward. And, the second salvo didn't really get a good hit off at all. And the enemy midway's already picked off RZ-23, so that's a very, very, very amazing start. Loading the HE and spamming away at the Yamato probably would personally recommend to focus on a single given target. Currently, we're not spotted. The planes aren't close enough. Whatever is inside of B isn't close enough. We saw an Asashi going north on the map, but I guess we're not really paying attention to that. There's no real reason for us to pay attention to that at the moment. Yamato is definitely easy to damage with HE. It's got an upper side belt of 32, and they all just fire, so these guys won't really be able to adjust aim quick enough to fire on us. That is underled. There you go, much better. Stalingrad looks like he's aiming at the Baltimore, I think. Yeah, that Baltimore ain't gonna have a good time there. That Baltimore is not gonna have a good day there. Anyways, last shots off the Stalingrad, getting some overpans, not really good damage, and friendly Montana kills off an enemy Buffalo, which is a good pickup. Incoming AP from the Yamato could definitely hurt, lolpens us, and the Midway actually AP bombs our Baltimore to death. Maybe he triggered defensive to try to protect our guys earlier, but, well, unfortunately, a Terrible does not have smoke screens, I believe, so he can't actually do anything to assist in protecting the Baltimore. That's a bit awkward. We've lost a destroyer and a cruiser. It's a cruiser with a decent AA as well. And we're being spotted by the planes over there. Slightly awkward for us as well. Although currently we're shot blocked. The Stalingrad and the Yamato don't have the flat arcing shells to be able to fire over that. And looks like that's the Cleveland trying to spam shells over the island. Need to be aware of the gearing. Generally anything else that might want to try to get behind us. If the gearing goes behind us, that could be slightly awkward. Now we've got a Gossa Kerfuffle in our face. Our carrier's going for an attack on the Stalingrad Yamato group down there. He's going really, really one by one. The enemy fighters, they're currently pretty far away, and it does get a click in. for a little bit of damage. Loading some AP for these Zal most likely, but there you go. He's back in visual again. He's opening fire. We're spotted by the planes next to us, so they flew just within range. The enemy carrier obviously would know we're here, so either he's going to line up with attack or he's just going to loiter around. Unfortunately, our carrier has really fucked up right now. And we need to keep in mind that Zhao is in the fishing division with the enemy's carrier, and there you go. You can see all the fighters, all the torpedo bombers are getting melted. He attacked during the Stalingrad's defensive AA with the dive bombers, and he didn't wait sufficiently for the defensive AA to go off before committing the second strike. So if you're going to do something like that, just either throw everything in at the same time. And in this case, since our carrier didn't have the fighters available to defend against the enemy fighters or to throw them off, then unfortunately he really should have just committed a full strike, gone in, all of it available. You know, all damage available. We get a triple fire on the Grosser, so he damacons that. No fire preventions. That's really up to the enemy Kurfürst. But 3 fires with no real threat of torpedo bombers. The worst thing that can happen is the gearing hits him right now with a torpedo and he floods for half his HP. So yeah, fighters. You can see they're going down now there to defend. There would have been sufficient time for the Allied carrier to wait out a defensive of the Stalingrad and re-attack later on. We're trying to back down. Definitely a good choice to make right now. The Allied Kurfürst is against 3 other tier 10s. He definitely won't last long. So at this point, I would personally suggest consolidating lines. Especially since, well, I mean, our carrier needs to clear up the northern side. We kind of just need to pull out of this area. To be completely fair, the Zhao actually picks up the Akitsuki, so now it's just the Asashio left out there, but that's basically where our battleships are, so I guess the Asashio did pick the right flank to make a play on. The torpedo bomb's heading for the Grosser Kurfürst. The Kurfürst is way too low HP, so we seriously need to consider the fastest way to get out of here. At this point, at least that's definitely what I would consider. Try to consolidate the lines, or, you know, get rid of the... You know, ask the carrier to attack and destroy the enemy Kurfürst. If he can kill the enemy Kurfürst, looks like he didn't take a torp. Looks like he took a shell from our Kurfürst before he went down. But if we're able to kill off the Grosser Kurfürst, we're still in fair shape. And our fighter squadron does a good job of killing. Definitely would trigger the defensive AA right now. There's Allied fighter squadron here. There's strike planes inbound. I would focus the... Looks like we're wiping the torpedo bombers after we wipe the dive bombers, and there you go. The torpedo bombers are coming under intense anti-aircraft fire as they all get obliterated. And we're focusing the fighters right now. Very good thing, and they're still in range. Those fighters, yeah, they're going down. That's actually a top 10 turrets, kind of the awkward thing that was going to happen. The gearing is to our side, but very good choice there to cycle anti-aircraft guns. Was about to say that you know I love the cycling AA guns when I know there's no more threats, just to get the cooldown 20 seconds earlier, and we absolutely do. And with enemy carriers capabilities eliminated on this side, and still a Yamato and a Kurfürst around, I would, at this point, pretty much just say de-island, turn around, head somewhere else. That gearing is currently hydro by the Kurfürst, although we're not paying attention to that. We're busy spamming away at the Yamato, who is aiming at us, but shortly he'll have a reason to aim at us, definitely. So we'll just stick around over here. We've kind of, honestly, already overextended our welcome over here, and we have no... I mean, we can spam HE and deal damage as the Kurfürst kills off our gearing, which is very awkward, but Azao does nail the fishing Des Moines. But the problem here is, it's us with 4 enemy ships, counting the gearing and the Cleveland, and we're now air spotted due to the fact we opened fire with a plane too close to us. We cannot sustain an engagement here. We can't hold, as the Allied carrier, I'd say, kind of wastes an attack on the gearing. I mean, wastes and wastes. He kills him. But, personally, I would have asked for the Kurfürst to go, because if we can kill the Kurfürst, we can sustain an engagement here. We can stay here. If the Kurfürst goes, we can stay. But he isn't. The Kurfürst is alive, which means that we're going to be a crossfire if we try to push up to kill the Cleveland or anything around there. So again, if we just go back around there, it pretty much negates the Kurfürst. He's out of battle. He's useless. He has to go in here or up here to get back into the game. The Cleveland hopefully will go down to the Dmitry Donskoy. We're actually pushing forwards, going forwards. I'm really not a major fan of this, and I think we've got the throw coming here, actually, because that Yamato's still very close. The Stalingrad's in a position he can fire on us. We're dealing damage to the enemy's aircraft. Getting a couple of chips on the fight. There's incoming dive bombers. Torpedo bombers are lining up. The carrier wants to get rid of us, and it looks like the enemy carrier is actually on the southern side of the map right now. So definitely good reason for the enemy carrier to try to get rid of us. His carrier is making a bit of a mistake. He's loitering planes in our akak. So at this point, I probably would just push up to this island and wait, I guess? I mean, I don't know what's gonna happen, but I have a suspicious feeling there's gonna be a Grosser Kurfürst in our face. We trigger a defensive AA to wipe out the dive bombers at this point. DBs are definitely the more tanky aircraft of the enemy carriers stuff. Clicking on the next plane just to make sure it dies, and there we go. AA defense expert. The planes have been eliminated. Cycle the air guns again. Focus on the Stalingrad. Try to get rid of something, and definitely focus on extracting our ship right now, because trying to make a play right now is really most likely just going to get us screwed. We don't really know where the enemy stuff is. We have no spotting, so I'd be really worried about the Grosser Kurfürst right now, the guy we never managed to get rid of. Getting some good damage on the Stalingrad over there. We're pushing forward, so we lose ability to fire on the Stalingrad. AA is we didn't cycle it, so we're not gonna get the cooldown earlier. Which in this case could matter, because the enemy carrier, he definitely wants to get rid of us. He knows we're here. He wants to get rid of us. So I've got, yeah, there it is. There it is. The Peter Bomber's coming in. They're very healthy. Grosser Kurfürst fucks his first shot up. Doesn't do any damage. South poor the angle. Stalingrad getting a shell in. Doing some good 60,000 damage crits against us. Without our AA, I mean, it wouldn't have mattered. We would definitely not have been able to suppress that at the moment. I would open fire. I would push full speed ahead. We used the heal already, which is very, very good. The Peter Bombers are definitely going to kill us. Nothing we can do about that. I would personally open fire on the Stalingrad. We're never going to kill the Zao or do a sufficient damage to the Zao. It can kill the Stalingrad or deal heavy damage to the Stalingrad. That would have been honestly the better situation, a better thing to do for our situation overall. Anyways, the camera controls are Mitch's from the battle. If I press the mouse button, I can basically just stare over the ship. I mean, I can do that, I guess. Looks like the Yamato's taking heavy fire, but our Donskoy's in about as crap of a position as we were in. Our Zao is on the flank of the Yamato, though, so that Yamato's most likely going to find himself going down shortly. Let's have a look here. Yeah. Concentrated fire against the Yamato, definitely the good thing to do. Looks like a Terrible is firing AP at his broadside. I would definitely not do that. Zao picks up our Donskoy, and yeah, what looked like a pretty decent situation ship-wise is now looking quite bad. Terrible does actually manage to pick up the Yamato, but see, who's that spamming chat? Yeah, the Dmitry Donskoy that had a really, really bad position and died in a really, really weird spot. So, yeah. But anyways, if we definitely overstayed our welcome. We're not, we're not a Stalingrad. We're not a Moskva. Of course, if we were a Stalingrad or Moskva, we would have died to the carrier there, but well, Stalingrad, not so much. Fully AA fishing Stalingrad can actually do some serious damage with the carrier, but then we wouldn't have had the AA... Well, we would have had the AA range to suppress the enemy carrier and give our carrier a little bit more free space to play with. And our carrier definitely didn't do a bad job. Our carrier's actually been doing quite well this game, if you ask me. He's handled himself quite well. Did manage to kill the gearing, although personally I would actually have honestly just recommended... I mean, the optimal thing to do there would just been we turn around, we kill gearing, carrier kills Kurfürst. That would have been a much better situation for us. And Montana's trying to snipe us out from across the map, and to the grand surprise of absolutely nobody, he underleads. Our carrier does a very good job on the Kurfürst. That looks like every single torpedo is going to land on the Grosser Kurfürst. Very, very good job by the carrier, but unfortunately he didn't have an AP dive bomber follow-up for the Kurfürst. If all of those AP bombs are dropped on the enemy's Kurfürst at that moment, he most likely would have killed the enemy Kurfürst off, or at least severely crippled him to the point where a couple of shells from the friendly team would kill him. Midway AP bombs down the Worcester, awkward situation, and these AP bombs are unlikely to find themselves doing much. They need a circle to get towards a drop position on the Stalingrad, so that's just going to result in very heavy bleed for them. The Stalingrad's not heavy AA spec, and he gets, looks like one Citadel out of that, so that's not a bad result from our carrier against the Stalingrad. But again, the enemy team's got 3 ships left, we've got 3 ships left. One of them is a Terrible, and the other one's a healthy Montana. The enemy Kurfürst isn't that healthy anymore. But, looks like the enemy carrier is going for our Zao, and there you go, torpedo bombers on one side clip, and there's no defensive AA, so that's, that Zao is gonna find himself going down to the enemy carrier, who picks up a Kraken off of that. And our carrier didn't have any planes to defend. I think he lost them in the attack on the Grosser Kurfürst, which is also why I believe that he should have definitely... been the focus of killing. Stalingrad down to 1.7. but the Terrible isn't getting the lead off correctly. The next salvo coming in is a good lead, but he's gonna have to get lucky to kill off that Stalingrad together with the Montana. That's definitely the focus that needs to go. Carrier's in a fine position. This guy really is salty. He really is salty. He parked himself in a weird position, bow in, and didn't take a chance to turn out. So, yeah. Terrible is just spamming away. Hopefully he doesn't get reset right now. He needs to stay alive. He needs to get the cap, and he needs to kill the Stalingrad, who is... Ooh, he is surface spotted, or air... No, he's air spotted firing, and Stalingrad gets a good hit on him. That's very bad. And to the grand surprise of nobody, the Montana, of course, doesn't hit the Zao. He's trying to snipe him from maximum range. Stalin was spotted at 1.4. He needs to die right now. If the Stalingrad goes down, we're actually not doing too badly. We can still win this. If the Terrible survives, gets into B, and the carrier is able to kill off the Gossaker first and kill off the Zao, since Terrible does finally nail the Stalingrad, as our Montana completely manages to miss him as well. Now, if I was the carrier, I would torpedo bomb with the Zao and AP dive bomb with the Kerr first, with both of them together. The enemy has no fighters. Allied fighters are kind of circling. Either use them to kill an enemy floating plane fighter or intercept the dive bombers going in for the team. Carrier decides he uses the torpedo bombers to attack the Gossaker first. The Zao did make a slight turn for it, so I guess that is fair. Those fighters need to be moved elsewhere, but currently I believe the midway is probably slipping up later into the... Ooh, very, very good damage against the Zao there. But I think our midway is slipping up a little bit, although it does appear he has a fighter advantage. That's one remaining fighter from the enemy carrier. Our AA definitely helped out there in engagement. But he definitely needs to use those fighters to stop the attacks against definitely the Terrible. If he goes down, that's very, very awkward. So somebody just needs to remind him to use that fighter to try to defend the Terrible, but I think it's too late now. We can't get down there to pressure, and yeah, you can definitely tell the Allied carrier is slipping up this late into the game, and the Terrible is not getting the shots off that he needs. But our carrier is slipping up. His micro held through the early stages of the game, but they're unfortunately not holding up anymore. Montana fails against the Zao, and I think our Terrible just made a rudder lock, so it goes down to the carrier. That's unfortunate that Zao doesn't go down there, which means that our carrier has to bleed a torpedo bomber attack to kill off the Zao, which he most likely will if the Zao doesn't have a defensive, which he may have triggered earlier, or he doesn't have a defensive, he's running Hydro, you never really know. But our carrier is lining up, and the Zao is being forced into the island, so a side drop here is pretty much a kill against the Zao, and we do get this to spot the Montana temporarily, the midway temporarily, and he's definitely islanding, so he's dying. So a good job to the carrier there, but unfortunately without the Terrible, there's no way we can get into Bravo on time to lock that before the enemy take the 1,000 points, and there's absolutely no way the Allied aircraft carrier will be able to kill off the enemy carrier in any reasonable amount of time. Someone's telling the Montana to do the obvious Cap B, but considering where that Montana's been going across the map, even if he knew he needed to go to B, he can't shoot the midway. The enemy midway just needs to literally sit there and do it. Nothing. In fact, the enemy midway might just try to farm damage off the Montana for all it's worth. But this game is over. There's no way to win this anymore. The enemy team's going to take the 1,000 points, so our carrier might as well just trigger defensive for the hell of it. And there you go. The plane spot them on the midway, but I'm not even sure they're going to reach there to drop him. And even if he doesn't trigger, even if he's like Alt F forward, no AA on, the torpedo bombers and the AP dive bombers simply will not have enough damage to kill him up front with what he's got, because he had to use a torpedo bomber squadron to kill off the Zao. Unfortunately, that Montana just didn't seem to have a fair time of doing anything useful. So it's 1,000 points about to tick. Nobody's going to get any more damage out of this game. He does manage a lock, but without the Terrible to cap that and someone, to kill the Zao properly without dying, that unfortunately was the last straw. So the throw that was mentioned in the title was absolutely just not leaving the side of the map at that point. Just abandoning that side would have been absolutely the correct thing to do. There's no reason to stick around there. The enemy team's got 3 ships there, and a Salem has absolutely no means whatsoever to either push or hold against the double battleship, mind you. No way you can hold against double battleship on your own. Forget it. So if we consolidate our forces, consolidate anti-aircraft defenses, and in general just try to concentrate fire on low HPs and just finish them off as we go, that could have been a fair chance to win that game overall, especially considering our aircraft carrier was definitely not incompetent. That carrier definitely held himself throughout the game quite well, but you definitely noticed that he was slipping on his micro in the later stages of the game, although the drops that we observed were pretty much perfect. He was landing every torpedo on the enemy curve first, dealing a full damage to him. But unfortunately, he just didn't get to pick up the kills on anything. You can see that he only managed to get 3 kills. I say only because he had to finish this out, and he ended up finishing the curve first in the end because they were pushing, but he was not able to get the kills throughout the early stages of the game. And if he had killed off the curve first earlier, perhaps he would have saved the strike by concentrating on him, or if he concentrated everything on attacking the Starling Rod just to get rid of him, knowing he's triggered defensive AA, by just stacking all 4 strike squadrons against him together, more damage would have come through. But there is, it's all really just a thought for those of you guys watching to keep in mind when you're playing your own games. It's not saying he did bad, he absolutely didn't, but yeah, the big throw from us came on simply charging the entire enemy team, which I guess we didn't know were there. The Zhao's map icon was somewhere farther away, I believe. But the Kerfers had nothing else to do but to charge straight at us. He knew we were there, we were constantly spotted throughout the entire game, we were spamming away, and he was so far out of battle, the fastest way for him to get back into battle was just to go to us. The Yamato was rather irrelevant throughout most of the game, other than trying to snipe a little bit, about as relevant as our Montana, but in the end, we ended up giving them relevance, and that's the biggest issue here. We ended up giving them something to do by simply sticking around. So the moral of the story is don't stick around where you're not welcome. If you're in a ship that can't hold territory or can't push territory, then there's no point in trying to attempt to hold or push territory against an enemy force that is much better suited at pushing and holding territory, i.e. battleships. So yeah, that's really the big lesson out of this one is just don't be afraid to go somewhere else. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this replay analysis and the cast. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. I'll try to put up some more replay analysis videos as the week goes by. I'll have a little bit more time, hopefully, to do so. And of course, I do stream on Twitch, twitch.tv/Rainis103. Follow me there. Sometimes I stream, sometimes I don't. No schedule, as per usual. And if you'd like to submit your own replays for this, an email address will be available in the description below. Don't forget to send me the replay. I'll take replays all the way down to 0.3.3 patch, so all the way down into the beta. I can still view replays from. Give me a little description of the game if you would like. Give a little description of what you were thinking, what your idea throughout the game was. It will help me massively in getting more accurate and better tailored advice for a match. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. Take care, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye!